What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Stand Your Ground. I'm your host, as always, Alex Benison. I'm joined by both members of the Mighty Whites podcast, Jack Robshaw and Casey.
Yeah,
No.
Well, a lot can happen in 2 weeks, can't it?
That's certainly been the case for this one. I believe that football fell to pieces, fixed itself, fell to pieces again, and is now on the mend.
I think somewhere in there, football had a slight slap on the wrist as well from UEFA.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll come up.
We might as well start straight away with the main thing that we missed. The Old Trafford protest. Now, we didn't do an episode last week on Sunday, and I was out and about, bank holiday, first time we've been properly out in a while. And following this on my phone going, no, they've still not kicked off. It's been delayed again. They're on the pitch.
Yeah, well, they got on the pitch quite early on. But if there's a lot of things with this. It's one of my least favourite things that happens with both social media and just straight up media narratives. Like, this is, as much as I am loath to defend Man United fans, the actual protest going in and going on the pitch, I am absolutely fine with. So there was a couple of dickheads who did, like, whoever did that to the cop's face, arsehole. But you can't let that undermine an entire protest. If any group of thousands of people, you're gonna have a couple of arseholes.
I mean, we're a group of three, and there's three of us here.
Yeah, but like, it really pissed me off because they went, "Oh, look at them breaking and entering and smashing things up." No, there was a couple of that arsehole that threw that tripod and camera. Arsehole. The people that just went in and stood on the pitch and sung things about the Glazers, they didn't actually break in to do it. They just opened the gate. Like, it's perfectly reasonable to do things like that. And it was great to see the change in tune from Sky when the protests went from, "Oh, the Super League, it's evil," to, "Oh, let's delay Sky's marquee fixture." Oh,
Yeah.
It was all kinds of a change in narrative out there. All of a sudden, well, these fans, they can't be doing things like this. They were one step from saying they need to know their place.
Hey, one of them threw a can of Pepsi. That could have killed Graham Souness.
Yeah, Graham Souness would have headed it clear.
I'm going to say I want to tackle Graham Souness in that situation. I tell you, if you got Joe Jordan in there between him and Graham Souness, they'd have cleared that trouble. No, pretty easily.
But
there were one bit where the fans came through. They came past Gary Neville. Gary Neville gave one of them a fist bump, and you could see it in his face as he put his hand out. It gave him a fist bump and went, "If this turns ugly now, fuck."
Yeah, and there's a picture floating around of Gary Neville fist bumping the fan that murdered 12 people.
To be honest, like, if you read the New York Times, I think Gary Neville is now being linked as the leader of Antifa because of his actions there. So
yeah. That's the real question: Keir Starmer or Gary Neville?
Oh, Gary Neville every day.
I think that Labour is far more electable with Gary Neville.
I'd vote Labour just for Gary Neville.
Yeah, and I used to hate him so much. No, obviously, there's lots of things bubbling under. It's not like, even though the protests have been kept very quiet because there's been, as much as it isn't the same as it was under Ferguson, there has been enough on-field success to quell any major things. But it's not like this hasn't always been there. They've hated the Glazers since 6 months before they officially bought the club. They've hated them the whole time. The way that they bought the club, leveraging a load of debt so they barely had to put any money in themselves, and then basically pulling out all the interest. I mean, what is it, like 1.2 billion they've pulled out of the club?
Yeah.
Like, it is they own it. They are legally allowed to do that, and that's fine. but it's not what you want from your owners. And as much as compared to a lot of clubs, Man United fans can't complain, they still can complain about it. And the only problem is that there's only about, I don't know, maybe 20 people on the planet that can afford to buy it from them. So whoever buys them next is probably going to be an arsehole as well.
Part
that
of me,
is the problem. Like you say, when you get to this level of wealth in life, is that I'm loath to even say that Bill Gates gets this rich being that nice. As we all saw in The Simpsons, he went in and smashed up hypercompute global mega nets just before it could ever take off.
Buy them out, boys!
So yeah, kind of once you get into the bill, I mean, they're talking about Arsenal and that being the deal that would be around 1.2 billion. I think they were talking, and that's for Arsenal. They're shit.
I think it might be more than that. I think it might have been 1.8.
Well, I think 1.2 might have been the value.
Yeah.
As now Kroenke actually wanting to sell is probably going to be higher than that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting way to see if they can be ousted by the fans or if they are people with such thick skin that they're just going to be there going, yeah, no worries, guys. See you next week.
From everything we've seen from the Glazers, I don't think this is going to make a shite of a difference to them. They never go anywhere. They're not bothered. They're not, I hate this phrase, but they're not proper football people. That's not why they're there. They're not there because they love the game and wanted to buy a football club, even if it wasn't the one they grew up supporting. They just bought it because it was a good buy. It was a good deal. Like, for instance, as much as he is a long way, no owners are perfect. Leeds are no different. Radrizzani seems to, for someone who's meant to be really good at PR, he seems to manage to have really bad PR quite a lot. But the thing with him is, for any mistake he's made, even though he's not from Leeds or anything, he didn't grow up following Leeds, but he did grow up as a football fan. And I think that quite often with a lot of these owners, the ones that didn't grow up interested at all in the sport tend to not get it in the same way, as even if it's a completely different club to the one they grew up supporting. If they grew up as a supporter, they seem to get it a little bit more. Yeah, the Glazers are NFL people.
Yeah, and I'd even go as far as for someone like Roman Abramovich, who didn't even come into this looking to buy Chelsea.
Came in looking to buy Tottenham.
Yeah, but he's someone who clearly cares about the club he runs, and I think does take a lot of pride in their accomplishments.
Yeah, and that's not to whitewash a lot of things about him that really bad.
No, I'm not in any way talking about him as a businessman. There's a lot to dig at there. I just think, in purely football terms, I think he does care about Chelsea. I think he cares about Chelsea more than a lot of people. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. Sorry, when I say that he cares about Chelsea more than a lot of people, I'm not saying he cares more about Chelsea than other people. I'm saying he cares more about Chelsea than he cares about other people.
Yeah.
just to clarify.
He's been to a lot more games than the Glazers have, though.
Yeah. I was going to say there's plenty of fans of clubs that aren't Manchester United that have been to more Manchester United games than the Glazers.
Yeah. The other thing that you kind of got to run on the back of is seeing protests like this, and although we're right in saying it's a protest, but a small bunch of dickheads decided to take it too far and do things that the protest was not implied to do.
Yeah, I believe they're called the police, right?
Does this take away from anyone wanting to join Man United in the off-season? Do you think that puts a bit of a shadow of a doubt in their minds about joining Old Trafford?
Nah, no, they don't. They won't give a shit about any of that. won't make any difference to any potential signings. They're going to be in the Champions League, and as much as I hate them, they're nearly as big a draw as any club on the planet, so they won't have any trouble in that regard.
Yeah, for the most part, I think once you start offering people upwards of £60,000 a week, yep, not a problem. I know you can't buy. I know money isn't really able to buy you out of any problems, but it can certainly cushion the blow if you've got some angry people shouting at your car as you drive away.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot about how strong they are off the pitch. That, you know, they're pulling all of this money out of the club and lining their own pockets with it. And there's still the money there to spend 120 million on players and 150 million on players every summer without much trouble. I think that's one of the things that pisses Man United fans off, because obviously there's TV money, all of that stuff. But in terms of just purely the money the club generates, do any clubs generate more money than Manchester United do? Like off their own back? They probably don't.
No, I don't think so. No. They're just so synonymous now with marketing partnerships, and it's amazing when you see that they have a noodle partnership in Asia. The Lego's one of their strategic partners. Like I assume it's the official toy partner of Manchester United. Lawn, greener is probably the official grass of Manchester United at this point. There's just don't know what other markets they could expand into for marketing partnerships. There's just about everything there.
Yeah, but they, as I say, because they've had such an improvement this season, and they look a bit more of a threat. I don't see. There's not any players that are available. Man United are in with a shout of getting, and I don't think unrest between the fans and the owners, I don't think makes any difference to that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we're already towards the back end of the season, which means the transfer rumours have begun to fly around. And with the Euros being in the summers, we'll end up with some ridiculous transfer rumour. Someone had 3 good games at the Euros. Chelsea want him for 50 million. Do you mean he's playing for a second-tier Croatian side? Yeah.
There is always a couple of them. I always my go-to is always Salif Diao. When he
it's half the Senegal team from 2002.
Yeah. Yeah, Salif Diao, Papa Bouba Diop, and El Hadj Diouf.
Papa Bouba Diop played that well. Got himself nominated for Ballon d'Or that year.
Was he nominated for Ballon d'Or? I never knew that.
Him and El Hadj Diouf both nominated in 2002.
By the way, just say, I have got the Arsenal game on in the background, and West Brom are all over him.
Go on, Big Sam. Well, I mean, to be honest, if Thursday's anything to go by, Arsenal probably aren't going to create a lot.
No, yeah, we can get onto that. Now, I did not see the Europa League semis. All I've seen is a little bit of highlights because me and KC were playing golf.
Holy shit, they weren't. Sorry, they were genuinely nominated for that. I could not believe it, so I had to make sure. But El Hadj Diouf, Papa Bouba Diop tied in 21st with Rio fucking Ferdinand.
Yeah, because
that's incredible.
Were you playing for Rennes at that point?
They were both at Lens, and then Diouf went to Liverpool.
Yeah, so it must have been Lens.
That's madness.
Yeah.
Roberto Carlos was second. I'm derailing the podcast here. This is madness.
Yeah.
So, from the footballing hotbeds of Senegal to the Champions League.
Well, the right teams went through in terms of the balance of play in both ties in the Champions League. I thought, obviously, I thought Man City were just the better side. The 45 minutes at first leg, PSG looked good, but then for the rest of it, Man City were the better side. They deserved to go through, and then at the end, I thought that PSG's players completely lost their heads all over the pitch. It isn't just the stupid red card for Di Maria. All of them just looked like their heads had gone completely. And all of the stuff I've seen was, oh, well, the manager's got to be furious with that. You know, you don't normally see... I actually saw people say, you don't normally see this from a Pochettino side. Wasn't it literally a Pochettino side that did exactly that against Chelsea when Leicester won the league, when they threw that game away? And they had like 4 players banned and everything.
That's too long ago to try and remember.
Yeah, but it was just, you don't see this from a Pochettino side. Hang on, one of the main examples I can think of this happening was a Pochettino side.
My favourite headline to come out of that game was by the Sun of Di Maria loses his head and throws some awful abuse at Fernandinho. He pushed him back, so he called him a bitch. Horrible, horrible abuse by Di Maria.
In fairness, if anyone knows horrible, horrible abuse, it's the Sun. Yeah, but I mean, Man City, I pre-season, that's who I thought was going to win the Champions League. Even though they've lost to Chelsea twice since Tuchel took over, I still think Man City are going to win the Champions League. Obviously, they're playing Chelsea now. That, I think, will be a really good game, but God, I was disappointed in Real Madrid in that second leg. I mean, they just weren't at the races at all. It could have been 4 or 5.
They've not been good all the way through this Champions League phase, though. Like the knockout, the group stages, like their full group kind of had a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah, they got beat at home by Shakhtar, didn't they? In the first game.
If Jurgen Klopp's to be believed, it's not like playing at a football ground. He's playing at Real's training stadium.
Yeah, it's very different to a football ground in that it has a full-size pitch and full-size goals and stands.
Yeah. Yeah, and Inter coming bottom of that group, Mönchengladbach coming out of it, Shakhtar going into... Like, that group was all up in the air until, I think, the final game.
Yeah.
So
I just thought they were poor throughout. Like it was hard to believe how one-sided that game was, especially seeing as it was 1-1 in first leg, so Real knew they needed to score. And other than Benzema, no one offered anything. I was legitimately watching the way Real Madrid played and how tired they all looked. And I mean, I know it is a fairly old side, but it looked an old side. And I was watching them and thinking, on this level of performance, I think on that night, I think there's 14 teams in Premier League that had beat them. They just weren't at the races at all. They were dreadful.
Are you classing Leeds in that?
Leeds are one of those 14, yeah.
Strangely, so West Brom.
Yeah. But it was like, it was the lack of energy. Like, I felt, now, not every night, just that performance that night. Like, the way Southampton press and harry, I think that Southampton would have had them no problem. Like, Chelsea, if it wasn't a knockout tie, if it was, like, important that they scored more goals, I feel like they could have.
Yeah. The Europa League, on the other hand, where, in fact, actually, we'll touch on this bit first. If Arsenal had gone through into the semi-finals, into the final, we'd have had Europa League full English final, Champions League full English final, the same as when it was Liverpool and Spurs and Chelsea and Arsenal that year, which is only a couple of years ago. However, Arsenal looked absolutely dire against Villarreal.
You could have just stopped before you said against Villarreal.
Arsenal are just dire.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have Arsenal fan TV after us now.
No one slags off Arsenal more than them. That's their brand.
There's a clip of them bringing Aubameyang off in like the 70th minute at 0-0, and one of them just absolutely fucking losing his head. I can't remember who they brought on. I'll have to look.
As I say, I've only seen brief highlights of this, and I say brief highlights because there wasn't loads.
I did notice
Arsenal-
it took. Oh, sorry, I did notice it took until the 92nd minute for them to bring Eddie Nketiah on.
Yeah.
We need a goal. Let's hold out and wait to bring a striker on.
Took Aubameyang off, put Willian on. Just lost all the pace.
Yeah, and Willian, obviously technically good, but he's getting on a bit now, and he just doesn't seem to have any motivation, and he isn't the player he was a couple of years ago as well. Like, it sounds like he's off to MLS in summer, there's a lot of things saying, which would be a good move for him and a good move for Arsenal.
Well, the headline for when he signed for Arsenal was he signed because Mikel Arteta had ideas of Arsenal winning the Champions League within 3 years. Like, Willian was going to be around for another 3 years to see Arsenal. I mean, even be in the Champions League might be a push.
Yeah. Luckily for Arteta, he's got a lot of goodwill behind him from the fan base, so he'll probably be fine. But in terms of on the pitch, now that they're not going to sneak their way into winning, because if they'd have snuck their way through and won the Europa League, all of a sudden, even if you finish 10th, it's a good season. But like, I don't see any footballing reasons why he shouldn't be scared for his job. Like,
Mourinho signed for Roma, that's why.
Imagine looking at that Arsenal squad and went, yes, I'm going to build a defensive masterclass out of these players.
Yeah. Rob Holding and Pablo Mari.
Yeah. Obviously, we haven't spoke much about the Man United-Roma game, which was mental, but when the first leg's 6-2, it can be.
Yeah, 5-8 on aggregate.
Yeah, you don't get many of them.
You do on Football Manager, you get loads of them.
That's just basically Roma's players trying to get all of that stuff out of their system because they're not having any of that next year. No more fun. No more fun whatsoever.
Well, no more fun until around January.
I did like the stat.
He don't get sacked first season. He gets sacked second. Or sometimes third.
Yeah, he'll have no money. And he's only... Like, they won't tell him to win the league. It will be, get us back into the Champions League. You can sign anyone who's on a free.
I don't really know what he's going to do because you look at their squad and he's already fallen out with 3 of them before he gets there. Mkhitaryan, Smalling, and Pedro. Like, he already hates all 3 of them. So they're gone.
Yeah.
I wonder if Chris Smalling's good. I wonder if a Premier League team's going to try and get a cut price deal for Smalling. And then he can go back to being Man United Smalling, who's nowhere near as good as Roma Smalling.
If by some miracle Fulham stay up, it would not surprise me if Fulham chugs money and went, go on, Chris, we'll have you back.
Yeah.
Chris Smalling says, you might have me back. I'm not coming back.
Well, that's been the running Twitter joke, hasn't it, lately? Like, Arsenal fans going, Allegri at Arsenal, who says no? And a million people quote tweeted it going, Allegri.
Yeah, the stat that I did like from the Roma Man United game, of the first leg anyway, is Roma, the last 2 times they've been to Old Trafford, have conceded 13 goals and only scored 3.
Yeah, because it's a long time ago, that 7, but I remember it because Alan Smith scored.
Yeah. Danny De Rossi, I think, was the one who scored for Roma that day.
Yeah.
So anyway, on to game roundups for this week, because fuck you, we're not going back 2 weeks. Newcastle 4, Leicester 2. Who saw this coming?
It's that Brendan burnout, mate.
I, for one, would like to say that I have given nothing but praise to Steve Bruce all year. I think he's a tactical genius, and he's just been incredibly unlucky with injuries.
Yeah, I'd like to say that they should still get rid of Steve Bruce. He's still shit. It's just that, but Callum Wilson and Alan Saint-Maximin do make a big difference. And Leicester were awful.
Yeah, Leicester obviously kind of got a bit messed up with Johnny Evans getting injured just before the game. But the high line they continued to play all throughout that game just played right into Newcastle's hands, and Callum Wilson just kept being given acres of space to run into.
Yeah,
you say that about Johnny Evans, but they still had Fofana and Soyuncu, who are two decent centre backs. Castan, who can play at right back, and they ended up playing a back three, didn't they?
Yeah, Castagna played as like the right centre back, and then Pereira and Albrighton out wide.
Like, it's still a good team, whether Johnny Evans pulls out late or not. That team should still be putting up a better fist of it against that Newcastle side.
And they did in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that they decided to kick in then, but as I said, like, Leicester will, looking at table, they should still be fine. Obviously, we'll come on to it, but West Ham getting beat was massive for them. But they did do, I know that everyone just blamed it on it being weird, no fans, all of that, and not being used to it yet. But Leicester did do exactly this last season. The end of the season, they were dreadful and lost to everyone. And threw away of the place and fell down the league. That's why I thought they were going to finish like 9th or 10th this season, because of how badly they ended last season. And now they just seem to be having a go at doing it again. I think that they'll get away with it and they'll still finish in top 4, but they want to book their ideas up, because Liverpool have a game in hand. They win that and they're only 3 points behind Leicester.
Well, it's next weekend they play Chelsea in the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I wonder if they've got one eye on that.
For me, that's not an excuse though, because you want to go in with a good run of form, not we've just lost to Newcastle 4-2, a team that have been battling relegation all season. Let's go play Chelsea, who are third and in the Champions League final.
Yeah. Jesus, I've just got their fixtures up. You do not want to be out of form right now. 11th of May, away at Man United in the league. 15th of May, FA Cup final v Chelsea. 18th of May, away at Chelsea in the league. Then final day at home to Spurs, which, as we've seen, is a very easy game.
You see those final two games, I could see them getting something out of them, because Chelsea, after the FA Cup final, will probably rest until the Champions League final.
Yeah, well, it depends what their results are, because they're only a point better off than Leicester. So they might not be able to. Arsenal 1-0 up, by the way. I didn't even really see it, but as it was out of corner of my eye, I think it was Emile Smith-Rowe.
I'm okay with that. I like him.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the Saturday game, and I'm sure you'll be pleased to talk about this game. Leeds 3, Spurs 1.
Well, it's good to know that we did. Obviously, everyone out there, unless they're a Leeds fan or a Spurs fan, they shouldn't have been watching this game, because the Championship was way more important and interesting than this to everyone who isn't a Spurs fan or a Leeds fan. But I mean, I'm kind of glad that we skipped last week, because we were shite against Brighton, but we were excellent yesterday. Tyler Roberts had an okay game, and everyone else was good or better. We played some really good football throughout. Spurs didn't really get near us in actual balance of play and stuff. I just thought all over the pitch we were brilliant, and even then, if that offside decision against Kane goes the other way, which it should have done, really, we could have been in trouble at 2-1 down, and it'd have been completely against the run of play. So I'm glad that we got the result we deserved. And I was really, obviously, I love Bielsa, all Leeds fans do, but it was a real good show from him, because we were shite against Brighton. They made no changes, only brought Phillips back and Rafinha back onto the bench. Didn't start them, gave them a chance to put it right, and they really did.
Yeah, we tore them to pieces, especially down that left hand side. We had a lot of luck going up against Alioski and Harrison were back to their best, and especially with Alioski because he'd been dreadful against Brighton. Like even for how bad we were, it'd been a terrible game for him. Like you say, Tyler Roberts, he struggled a little bit, but outside of that, Dallas had another brilliant game on the right-hand side. Click was back to classic Click, as I'm going to refer to him now. Defense-wise, Liam Cooper was out injured, so he didn't come back in, so we stuck with Strike and Llorente. They were great. Koch had a great game as the holding mid. There's very few things you could really pick at from Leeds. I thought their goal was quite well worked. I know the ball takes a deflection on its way through to Son, but it was quite a nice bit of football from them. I thought the brief spell that Dele Alli looked threatening. Outside of that, they didn't really cause too many problems.
Yeah, obviously, like the goals were good ones. They're all decent goals. Harrison was really good for both, but we don't need to get into it that much. But have you actually seen the Harry Kane offside for what would have been Spurs' second goal?
His toenail's a bit too long.
Yeah, it's level. That is level. Now, the difference between this one and a lot of ones that we got pissed off with earlier in the season, especially if you remember the Bamford one at Crystal Palace where he got given offside because he was pointing where he wanted the ball.
Yeah.
The reason this one isn't quite as bad is that the linesman did give offside on the field. So it would have been offside without the AR. But it's level. It's onside. It's a goal. Just because this one went our way, so I was very happy about it. But it doesn't change the fact that I wish they'd bin it off. VAR so crap.
It felt harsher because of the Rafinha decision later on.
Yeah,
which was also just as close.
Yeah, which was also onside. But
yeah. And I mean, Stuart Dallas again scoring against a top 6 club. I know he's a cult hero at Leeds, but he's easily becoming a Streets will never forget Premier League player.
Stuart Dallas is no longer a cult hero. He's a bit good to be a cult hero. Cult heroes are meant to be a bit rubbish and just loved. Stuart Dallas, he's going to win our player at season and win it fairly comfortably, I reckon. He has been absolutely outstanding. He's played left back to a really high standard. He's filled in at right back to a pretty good standard. He's played as the holding mid briefly. He's played as the centre mid. And then the last 2 games he's played on right wing. And he's done all of them brilliantly. He is now what people think of when they think of James Milner. 2-0 Arsenal. Pepe just scored a screamer.
Yeah, it'll be great for him, a few years down the line, and he's got the Stuart Dallas toilet cubicle because you've got nowhere else to put his name.
Yeah, we are running out of things to name after ex-players, and
yeah, I think you'll find it'd be Stuart Dallas Car Park B.
Yeah. No, we can just rename Cookridge because obviously that's where it's home. Just rename it Dallas. We were really good in this game, and Spurs were very uninspired. Like KC was on about, Leeds getting so much joy down the left-hand side, and Aurier didn't really look up to much, but Alioski and Harrison were both on really good form, and Bale just stood there and let it happen. He never once got back in to help. So,
and that's the thing with Alioski, that even when he's not playing well, he's still going to bomb on, and he's still going to end up doubling up with Harrison, overlapping him most of the time. And you do need that support just to cover it.
Yeah.
And I love if you've watched, I think there's the replay of the third goal, where it's kind of it's zoomed out, and you're seeing Rafinha just pull away, and Aurier might be the highest player up the field.
Yeah,
he just doesn't bother getting back in. Alderweireld jogs back. Reguilon on the far side's not getting back. The one Spurs player I did feel sorry for was Hugo Lloris, who I thought actually had a very good game and was just entirely let down by the whole of the team in front of him. Two of the goals, Eric Dyer just decided to stand there and watch people run in front of him.
Yeah, that is one thing. As much as obviously I take out of it how good Leeds were, Spurs fans will be fuming with that performance, and rightly so.
Yeah, Dyer doing exactly what he did when Man United when we played against them. Cavani just peeling off, going behind him, and he didn't look once to see where they were behind him. Yeah, he's gone. Not my problem anymore.
Yeah.
So moving on to a game that I listened to through Final Score because I was waiting for the Cass versus Salford Challenge Cup match. Sheffield United 0, Crystal Palace 2.
This game does not matter whatsoever.
Yeah, like I watched this.
Well done, Christian Benteke. He has scored more goals in this season than he has in the last 3 seasons combined. Well done him. Ebere Eze is still a really good player. I think we've covered that one.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is Eze, when he picks the ball up and runs, does look like he could create a chance out of nowhere. But again, it was against Sheffield United.
Yeah, Eze is a really good player. He looked great at QPR. All Leeds fans wanted to sign him, as did every fan of any club that sees a bit of the Championship. So anyone sort of 8th place down in the Premier League and the newly promoted sides from the Championship at that point, if you ask fans of any of them, they all wanted to sign him because he looked quality. And, once it took like 10 games for him to establish himself in the side. And as soon as he has, he's looked really good. I think that they're going to be the most interesting team to watch over the summer off the field. Because they're probably going to end up with a new manager and about 16 new players at Palace.
Yeah, 13 players out of contract at the end of the season, and then Roy Hodgson as well, who, if we're honest, probably just retire Roy, please.
I think he will this time. Although you never know, Halmstad's would be calling.
He might just think there's one more job for him, and it's not with Roberto Carlos.
What do you say? There's one more job for him. Are you talking about Roy Hodgson or Neil Warnock?
I'm
just having a look at. I'm just having a look here as well. I've got the list of bloody hell. This is a long list of players. This is the list of players who are out of contract for Palace. Batshuayi, Benteke, bloody hell, go away. Sorry, random pop-ups. Schlupp, Van Aanholt, Townsend, Sacco, Klein, McCarthy, MacArthur, Ward, Cahill, Hennessy, Scott Dan, Kelly, Connor Wickham, Stephen Henderson, and whoever Sam Woods is.
Sam Woods is a young centre-back, I think.
Who's Stephen Henderson?
Like third-choice keeper.
So they've got 2 keepers out of contract, and Jack Butland.
I was going to say, isn't Wayne Hennessy the 4th-choice keeper?
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like, none of those are crucial. But it'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, Van Aanholt's probably the closest one, but he isn't what he was.
I mean, like, I know we kind of joke about his goal scoring ability, but Benteke has still played the vast majority of games. He is someone that, certainly Roy Hodgson liked.
I would assume, and I don't know this, but I would assume that Benteke, just based on the way his career's gone, I bet he's still on massive money.
Oh, he will be. I mean, Fenerbahce have come sniffing for him, so even if he's not at the moment, probably will be after the summer.
Yeah, but I would think that, like, I would bet Palace would probably quite like to keep Benteke, but only if he's willing to halve his wages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not going to do that.
No, got a comment from Al. Sheffield United giving up completely. Embarrassing to be honest. They'll do a Sunderland and end up in League One.
It is possible. The only reason I say it's possible is because apparently Heckingbottom is legitimately an option to be their permanent manager next season. And if
he does know the league.
If Heckingbottom gets the Sheffield United job permanently, I'll be having money on them to finish bottom half and on them to go down.
And finish
not on to be bottom.
I'll probably back that too, because Paul Heckingbottom is, and this is not an opinion, it's a fact, useless.
I don't know if he has a job or not at the moment. Gary Monk's still unemployed.
I don't know. We'll have to ring his agent and find out, and that's as far into that as we'll go.
Just ask him to provide his own laptop this time.
Yeah.
So moving on to the game that is going to be the Champions League final, and we won't linger on it too much. Man City 1, Chelsea 2. Main talking point: Aguero, Panenka. What?
It happens once every so often. You try that penalty. It's going to happen to someone. It's a better penalty than putting it just wide.
Yeah. The funny thing was watching Match of the Day when you have Ian Wright who's there going, look, as in terms of Panenka's, he's done it perfectly. He's got a good height on it.
Yeah.
It's going down the middle. The goalkeeper's just not really moved that much.
Yeah, he's read it. It happens. It is no different to if he hit it low to his right and Mendy dived and saved it. It looks worse because you're showing off. And if you show off and it goes tits up, it always looks worse. But the way it's been talked about, I think it's been blown miles. Like he's put an apology on Twitter because all fans were having a go at him. Man City fans shouldn't be allowed to have a go at Sergio Aguero if he pulls the shirt, if he takes his shirt off and wipes his ass with it.
Yeah. If he'd have scored this penalty, he would have equalled Wayne Rooney's record for the most goals for one single club in the Premier League.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
So
he's got a couple of games left for that one then.
Yeah, but I would. It looked awful, and you do think, oh Jesus, why don't you just put your foot through it? But it happens. The main thing that I saw out of this, it wasn't just that chance. Like Man City really did throw this one away.
One of the things I do think Chelsea did very well was get Reece James and Marcus Alonso a lot more involved in the second half, and they caused a lot more problems. The other thing with Chelsea as well is the amount of goals they had disallowed in this, which was quite impressive.
Yeah,
3 or 4.
Well, I mean, second half, Chelsea were better side. It's almost as if they had a really, really, really brilliant squad and a crap manager for half the season.
Well, we have got a comment from Al again. Guessing this is his Champions League predictions. Chelsea win 1-0. Kante masterclass.
Or it's his prediction for yesterday's game. I don't know.
Well, it's a brave strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for him.
And the final game of the Saturday, Liverpool 2, Southampton 0. We won't get into it too much. Thiago with his first goal in the Premier League for Liverpool. And Sadio Mane scoring against his old club.
Yeah, Liverpool were pretty good in this game, although Southampton weren't without the chances. Like that one where Alisson passed it straight out to Che Adams, I thought that was a bit crap from Adams. He took ages and hit a weak shot when really you needed to hit it. You needed the shot away quickly before Alisson gets back. But to take your time and then still hit a weak shot is really poor forward play. But Southampton weren't awful in this game, though. Liverpool just looked a bit better than them. They did well, considering it was Reece Williams and Nat Phillips at the back. I thought that they both looked quite comfortable. Although I think that on a day when Southampton play better, the way Liverpool set up, I'm still not sure was very clever, because Southampton got in behind loads of times with the pace, and they just kept this ridiculously high line all game, did Liverpool. And I think that it was more Southampton failing to capitalise than Liverpool defending well.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 chances in the second half that Martin Obafemi, probably on another day, scores or at least puts on target.
And just I'm not 100% sure. Isn't it Michael Obafemi?
Might be Michael Obafemi.
I aren't sure. That is, I'm not saying for certain because I'm not sure. I think it is though.
It sounds right.
Yeah.
I did again, whilst watching Match of the Day, I did quite like I can't remember who the commentator was for it, but they timestamped Alex's praise of Southampton perfectly by saying they topped the league one day in November.
That's when they were going to win the league. This, where are they? 16th? 10 points off relegation.
How have they ended up 16th? I give Hasenhüttl
because they keep losing.
Yeah, but like they should not be that low. To be honest, maybe I'm too full of praise for Hasenhüttl over the last couple of years, because that's really not good.
Yeah, 10 points off relegation. They've got Crystal Palace, Fulham, Leeds, and West Ham to play.
Yeah.
Not that I think Fulham are going to go on a 12-point win run at the end of this season, but there's a chance.
There's not a chance of that.
Well, there is a chance. It's a very, very, very small one. Like, so small.
And then they'll sign Chris Smalling. So we won't go on to the Sunday. We might as well talk about the Championship. Because
Derby, you fluky bastards, Derby.
This was all up in the air, and 3 different teams were safe for multiple points of this. So as the day went on, any of Cardiff, Sheff Wednesday, Rotherham, or Derby could stay up. And as much as I like Wayne Rooney,
Wickham could have stayed up.
Wickham technically could stay up. They just had to win, everyone else lose, and about a 20-goal swing.
There was an 8-goal difference between them and Derby. But, yeah, so Rotherham go 1-0 up against Cardiff. Absolute screamer of a goal, though.
Yeah.
Right finish.
I'm like, cards on the table. I was dying for Rotherham to be the ones that stayed up, so I was really pleased at that point.
Then things went from bad to worse when Sheff Wednesday, right before half-time, scored. Sheff Wednesday are then... I don't think they're safe at that point. I think Rotherham are still safe, but I think it puts Derby to second bottom.
Yeah, because Wickham were... by half-time 2-0 up at Middlesbrough and winning really comfortably.
Because I distinctly remember saying to you as well, I wonder how many times a season is finished with the 3 teams in the relegation zone all on the same points. Because that is how it stood at that point.
Yeah.
So then we come out after the half-time. Martin Waghorn scores. Patrick Roberts score. 2-1 Derby. Then... Sheff Wednesday pull 2 back, and then a penalty for Waghorn, which means 3-3. Derby stay up due to Cardiff getting a very late equaliser by Marlon Pack.
I was going to say because the Derby game was running Derby Sheff Wednesday was running sort of 12-15 minutes behind because of injuries and stuff. So I think that it going to 3-3. There was a point where Sheff Wednesday were 3-2 up, and that's when Cardiff equalised. So it was all of a sudden, Sheff Wednesday is staying up, and then they immediately gave away a penalty. It was so.
Yeah.
It was pretty much to the second. Because As I say, if I want a Leeds fan, I wouldn't have watched the Leeds game. This is what I'd have been watching because it was real drama. And this, Americans, is why promotion and relegation is good.
As always, with the final game of the season, there's always going to be some weird scores. The two that stand out: Blackburn 5, Birmingham 2, and Coventry 6, Millwall 1.
It may have been a nothing game that didn't matter, but I'm always happy to see Millwall get smashed into the ground. I wish Derby had gone down. I mean, they just so deserved it. I mean, they still do.
Do you agree? Do you agree with the abuse they've got online for celebrating staying up?
The way they celebrated, I understand why they got a load of stick. The on-pitch celebrations, that's just relief, emotion. Yeah, fair enough. But the going out and running into crowd and all of that, they didn't stay up. Rotherham conceded a late goal. If they'd have scored a late winner to keep them up, I'd understand it more. But like Derby, I've seen people going, "Oh, Wayne Rooney, he came in to keep them up and he's done it. He's done a really good job." They've won one of the last 15. He's not doing a good job. He should be sacked immediately. He's terrible.
He's making Mikel Arteta look competent.
Yeah, he's got a permanent. Oh,
the other thing with the celebrations is, like, I understand celebrating staying up. Like, if Wickham would have stayed up this year, I could understand celebrations like that.
Absolutely.
Because if you are a team that's just got promoted to a division, and then you keep yourself there, that is an achievement for a lot of clubs, whether it's just because of budget or whatever it is. 2 years ago, Derby were in the playoff final. 2 years ago.
And you know what? If Sheff Wednesday had stayed up, I'd have understood that, because even though they've been dreadful this season, they had the points deduction and everything. So they would have overcome something to do it. Derby haven't overcome anything. All they've done is mismanage themselves from being a good squad with a chance of promotion to being a highly paid, by the looks of it, not very good squad. Like, it's just I'd say I'm not as. It doesn't annoy me in the way it has a lot of being like, oh, they shouldn't be celebrating it. It's not an achievement. It's the way it went on. I think they pushed it too far. The original celebrations, yeah, because there's no bigger relief than staying up. But they were basically talking about it like they'd won something. And it's just
Can you imagine speaking to a Derby fan? Going back to the start of the 2019-2020 season, you've got Koku as your manager, you've got Rooney as a player. In a year, you'll be fighting for relegation and Rooney will be coach.
Yeah. They'd have probably believed Rooney being coach, because as soon as he came in as player, youth coach, everyone knew that's what was coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got away with one, because obviously Sheff Wednesday don't get a points deduction, then they go down. And as we all know, from what we have seen everywhere, it's unfair to give a points deduction for something that's nothing to do with the players, the manager, or the fans. Well, This was nothing to do with any of them three.
Yeah.
I did quite like seeing out of this as well, Martin Waghorn's comment of, this is what you live for as a player. And when you're going, really? You live for this? Listen, I know everyone likes a bit of drama, but Jesus, mate, like, live for promotion. Like, I know it was dramatic end to the season, but you shouldn't be going into your career going, God, I hope we stay up on the last day. It'll feel great.
Live to win.
Can't wait to be in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the Sunday games. Wolves beat Brighton 2-1, thanks to a 90th minute winner by Morgan Gibbs-White. Although he did miss a sitter right before that.
Yeah, absolute sitter, pretty much an open goal. I've only seen highlights of this one. But from what it seems like Brighton were playing pretty well. They were very on top with set pieces and stuff. Obviously, Lewis Dunk scored a really good one. And then Lewis Dunk gets sent off in... I believe the term is, well, you can't complain about that one.
Yeah, the only thing I thought when I saw that was, you're going to get sent off here. Go on, have a bit of a kick as well.
Don't just pull his shirt. If he's clean through and you want to stop him, at least hoof him up in the air. Not in a way that'll injure him. Just make sure that he takes him out. Because to be honest, Fabio Silva could have probably stayed on his feet. He'd have probably still gone through. He'd have been better off not doing it.
The thing that I found funny about this was Sky Sports highlights on YouTube. The first half is 4 corners to Brighton. Right, second half. It's typical Graham Potter, isn't it? They play some decent football, but for some reason Brighton just can't seem to get a good result other than against Leeds.
Yeah, they're very good at playing us. They appear to be just the way that they set up really does not do us any good.
Graham Potter's got Bielsa's number.
Well, if he has got his number, he should ring it and ask for some advice.
Moving on. Villa 1, Man U 3. It was a good goal by Traore. It's a great finish. Victor Lindelof, what the fuck are you doing? This is some horrific. This is the defending that he was doing when we first brought Lindelof in from Liga NOS. He just got turned so easily and then just got flustered and had no idea what to do. Just couldn't get himself back into position.
Yeah.
But then penalty, Bruno Fernandes.
Really?
No, not Bruno Fernandes.
A penalty, you say? I can't believe it. As much as I'd love to take the piss, it was a penalty, and it was one of the Douglas Luiz. I have no idea what he was thinking. Pogba had already fallen over once and was falling over again. He's back to goal. He's going nowhere, and he just kicked him. It was such a stupid thing to do as a defender.
The thing that you do have to say is, I know that's a blatant penalty, but what did you make of the handball claims for the penalty that would have been for Villa?
The Greenwood one.
Yeah.
Up until a couple of years ago, he's too close to it. There's too close to it. Can't really get out of the way. No penalty. This season, I've seen much harsher ones given.
Yeah, you say his arm's in a natural position, but it was tilted up.
And I believe that
I don't know who jumps like this.
No, I believe that there's a rule now, because obviously you do throw your arms up when you jump. But I'm fairly sure that a rule is that, if it's up above your head, it doesn't matter that you're close to the ball. In terms of the way they've been ruling it. So,
so you're telling me cross comes in, I jump like that. Oh, it is natural.
Yeah, I'd say it's one of them where a few years ago, that's not a penalty because no time to react. But now I think it probably is. If they're being consistent.
At first, I thought it was harsh. It was a harsh claim that people were saying. But then the more you see the replays, the more you do think, no, that probably should be a penalty. In modern football, it probably is a penalty.
Yeah.
I also thought Martinez should have saved Greenwood's shot.
Oh, he definitely should have, yeah.
Should not have got the bottom corner there. And I thought it was very unnatural of Greenwood to go for the near post rather than trying to curl it into the far. But that's what caught him off.
Yeah, I can say that'll have been what did for Martinez. That'll have been why he was slow getting down. He'll have been set to go the other way. Yeah. And just not gone back. That, I believe, although it's a very poxy stat, I believe that makes him the record goal-scoring teenager for Man United. Overtaking
17 goals as a teenager for Man United now.
Yeah.
Or in the Premier League, should we say.
Yeah.
Also means that Solskjaer has made 31 points from losing positions in the Premier League this season.
Yeah. All he needs to do is learn how to actually set out a team at the start of the game, and you might be dangerous.
As soon as we won this game, we should mention Cavani scored a header at the end as well.
Yeah, Cavani's good.
As soon as we as soon as we won this game and everyone went, "Oh, title race is back." It's not back on though. You saying City are going to lose 3 in a row, and we're going to win 4, and we've got to play Leicester and Liverpool. No.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, there is absolutely no world in which that happens.
It's absolute bollocks. It's done. We've got second. City have got first. Fine, end it there. Well done, City. You won the league again.
Yeah, I just wanted to superimpose that guy from Come Down With Me on you the way you said that.
Go spend it on some grace and decorum.
Yeah.
So final game that's taken place: West Ham 0, Everton 1. Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, the big game of today.
Yeah, I do feel bad for David Moyes because there's part of me that wants to just see Leicester and West Ham in the Champions League, and Chelsea have some sort of mental collapse.
That's exactly what I want. It's not going to happen, but that's exactly what I want.
But at this rate, watch, it'll be Liverpool that takes 4th.
Yeah, this was a really poor result for West Ham. And, losing to Everton is no shame. They're a good side, but they just weren't at it. I mean, Soufal hit the post for them, but Everton on the counter looked so dangerous all the time. And they had the better of the chances. They deserved to win game, I thought, did Everton. And it's a shame because, with where Everton are Everton are only 3 points behind West Ham now, with a game in hand. It's really tight, all of that European race. So, generally speaking, I would say I like Everton more than West Ham, but I wanted West Ham to win it because I want them to get in Champions League. But West Ham, the massive game at home, you have to win it. This is so important if you want to achieve this unlikely thing of getting in the Champions League. And they didn't have a shot on target. They were unlucky with one that hit the post, but I don't think they had a single shot on target in this game. And it's sort of a bit like with Leicester. They're getting to end, the pressure's on, and they're just starting to crumble a bit.
Yeah, 9 points between you. No, not 9 points. 8 points between you and West Ham in 5th. Villa have got a game in hand.
I don't think we're going to push for 5th, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just talking about how close it is. And then Villa just behind you with 48, but they've got a game in hand as well. It's the closest it's been in that part of the table for quite a while. It's just a shame that, the top's pretty much done and dusted and relegation's done and dusted.
Yeah, it's looking like when it comes to final day of season, there might be something to play for top 4. And there might be something to play for, and I don't think we'll be in this, because I think the teams above will also win games. But there might be something to be said for the battle for 6th and 7th. Because I believe that now that Man City have won the League Cup, 7th gets Europe, doesn't it?
Yes, I think if we win the Europa League, I think it definitely does as well.
Yeah, because this next season's the first year for that Europa Conference League, isn't it? The Europa League 2 Electric Boogaloo that it is.
Yeah, is that 7th? Might be even 8th, 7th and 8th that get that.
Yeah.
So you might be in Europe next season.
I'd love that, especially if we're in the Conference League. If we're going to have to go off on a really shifty European tour, let's go for a really tin pot one. Let's get ourselves off to go play,
Levski Sofia
and in fact, can we just draw Reykjavik? Because I'd quite like to go there.
No, I want us to redo our 99-2000 campaign. I want 3 trips to Moscow.
Yeah.
I want more. I want Spartak. I want Lokomotiv. I want, CSKA. sod it, we'll go to Zenit as well if things have gone tin pot there. Just bring on all the Russian teams.
What was it? Weren't we playing Lokomotiv? We won the game, they got back on the coach and found out they'd drawn Spartak.
I believe so.
Yeah. They were in Moscow going, fuck's sake, we've come back.
Because we'd also, during that run as well, we went to Spartak to play and the pitch was frozen. So we'd been flown all the way over for the game to get cancelled to then fly back, which is a bastard of a trip.
Yeah. As I say, I'm with you, Alex. I really hope that the third and fourth spots go to West Ham and Leicester, but West Ham losing today, they're now 5 points behind Leicester and there's only 3 games left. Yeah. So I think that's them, to be honest. It's whether they can hang on to 5th and 6th. And with Liverpool only a point behind with a game in hand, I was going to say Spurs are only 2 points behind, but having seen that yesterday, maybe not. Everton only 3 points behind, game in hand. I can't see West Ham holding on, and I think they'll end up like 6th or 7th now, which is a shame because for a lot of the season they did so well. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they get something out of it, but can't see it now. Well,
it's coming out that apparently the AFL now want to dock Derby 12 points.
There's. I haven't read anything in the last few hours. It's pretty well known that. Like they agreed that takeover with that agent guy who, how to phrase it? There are things about him that don't seem to add up, such as having his bank accounts frozen in the middle of buying a football club, which did happen. But apparently, if they don't get this takeover sorted, they're knackered, and if they put themselves into administration now, like right at the end of the season. It is one of them. Will that go on next season? Or will it go on this season? I honestly think that it's quite cynical that they've held off for non-business reasons just to try and get it onto next season. So the punishment probably would be to do it this season.
If I remember rightly, because this came up a couple of years ago, because there was the idea that if you went into administration and you survived, then
it's this season.
Yeah.
And if you go down anyway, it's next season, because we tried to do that when we got relegated from the Championship, didn't we? Yeah, we held off, and as soon as relegation was confirmed, we went into administration because points deduction doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have thought.
It would be very cynical. It's very cynical of Derby to pull a move like this and think, this will go on next season now. Season's done and dust. But the other thing is, strictly speaking, the Championship season's not over.
Yeah, the playoffs haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely fantastic if Wycombe stay up now.
It's not Wycombe that are staying up. It's not a random... Because they're not.
No, it would. It'd be Wycombe would stay up. Bottom.
They end up third bottom. Oh, wow.
Wycombe are 22nd because of where results went. Because Sheffield Wednesday only got a point and Rotherham only got a point.
I didn't realise they were... I'll tell you what, they can have a celebration for staying up.
Yeah, even though it's done in this way. Yeah, and to be honest, if Wycombe stay up, I'm not just saying... If Wycombe stay up, have an open top bus parade.
Have Akin Fenwell stood at the front.
No, because genuinely...
No, you won't be able to see anyone else.
Like, I would bet that Wycombe's budget, it isn't just that it's the smallest in the league. It wouldn't surprise me if it's half of what the 23rd biggest budget in the league is. Like, when they went up last season, and admittedly, they voted for ending the season early to keep them in the playoffs, which was cynical, and I don't particularly like it, but a lot of clubs voted with them on that. They had like the 21st or 22nd biggest budget in League One last season. And it's not like they spent any money when they came up, really. So, like, as I say, I don't want Derby to go out of business because I don't want any club to go out of business, but I would like them to get a points deduction and go down. And then I'd quite like them to get another one next season as well.
Yeah, if EFL could hand them a 12 points deduction and do 2 for this season, and 10 for next. I'm fine with that.
Brilliant. That'd be pettiness, but
I think that is an apt punishment.
I'm just waiting for Mel Morris to try and take them out of the CVA early, and that's obviously a 15-point deduction for the start of next season. And
to be fair, he'll be ringing up thingy from Real. You know, we won a European Cup once before. Can we join the Super League?
We're as good as Spurs, pretty much, in terms of trophies.
In terms of teams I've seen come to Ellen Road, Derby looked better than Spurs did yesterday.
So, as we all know, the game that's happening right now is Arsenal-West Brom. That's 2-0. And then Monday's game, which is Fulham versus Burnley. Pretty much Fulham lose. That's it. They're down. Predictions for that?
Fulham are going down.
Yes, Fulham are definitely in every way going down.
So 0-0, yeah.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day. Later that day, Fulham were relegated.
To be honest, where Burnley have been playing, I actually think Burnley will beat them.
Charlie Taylor's going to do them.
Chris Wood with another first half hat-trick.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it's quite a packed... God, it's a really packed week this week. There's games every single day in the Premier League.
Yeah, we've got 3 games starting from today and ending Thursday, I think our final game is.
Yeah.
I think we play Tuesday and Thursday.
Now, don't get me wrong, modern sports science and stuff, I understand that is tough on players' bodies, etc. But God, they're making it sound like they're having them do 12 hours down pit and then play. Like, they're professional athletes, and you've got a massive squad. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
You might lose a game, but it's not going to matter. You're going to be second anyway.
I assume N'Golo Kante probably has the fitness to do that sort of schedule anyway.
One other thing about Man United's fixture congestion that I should have brought up at the start, but it just jumped back into my head. Now that they're all on telly and there's no fans anywhere, why didn't they just play it like 4 hours later?
TV.
Yeah, or I can't think of any reason why they didn't just go, oh no, we've called it off. Oh well, let's play it in a few hours. Rather than just sticking it in on a random day.
Or let's reconvene at Carrington and get this game played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't for Sky, that probably would have happened.
Yeah.
I know I'll just mention this quickly as well, because I think it's something I forgot to bring up. Obviously, given the current circumstances, how ridiculous will it be if the Champions League final does not take place at Wembley?
Oh, it doesn't have to be Wembley, but there is absolutely no reason for 2 English teams to go play in Turkey right now.
There's absolutely no reason for them to play at fucking Villa Park.
It depends how many fans we're going to let in. Like, preferably, it is Wembley, but isn't it the same day as the playoff final?
It normally is, yeah.
Yeah, so, that might be difficult. But, I mean, if we're allowed, say, 25-30% of the capacity, then they want it somewhere big. Then play it. If you can't play at Wembley, then they're not. I mean, I'd quite like to say play at Old Trafford. It's massive, and I'd love Man City to win Champions League at Old Trafford. That'd be awesome.
Fuck off. Don't say that, because it's going to happen now.
I mean, hell, if they can lay a nice pitch, play it at Twickenham.
I was just thinking about Twickenham. Actually, I don't think that'd be a bad shout. But
the only reason I can understand Villa Park is because it's mutual. It's in between both.
Yeah, with the way that modern stuff is done, I don't think it matters whether it's equidistant or like that. I don't think it makes a great deal of difference.
Because the other thing is as well, if I understand that it's prestigious hosting the Champions League final, but at the moment there is no benefit to Istanbul hosting a Champions League final that will have such a low amount of it would just be easier to. I don't know how far ahead they're planned for the venues for the finals.
I think it's a couple of years,
but just push them each back a year.
Yeah,
it would be that simple. Because, like I said, there's no real tourism benefit to Istanbul for hosting that final. You're getting people, even the referees are flying in from a different country, I'm assuming. You've got two teams flying in from the same country to leave a country.
And for what it's worth right now, Turkey is on the no-go list.
Yeah, so just do it at any state. Do it at Ellen Road. Be lovely. We'll go down.
Nah,
I've already been there when Man City won the Premier League. I might as well be there when they win the Champions League as well.
To be fair, if it was rugby league, this would just be done at St James's Park.
If this was rugby league, they'd find some way to play it at fucking Salford. Like last season when they did Cass v Hull and played it in Salford.
When you say Salford, do you mean Old Trafford?
No.
The AJ Bell Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh.
The AJ Bell Stadium, which is so nondescript that at one point me and Casey were in a car driving past it, and I had to look it up to figure out who the hell played there.
Well, that's a tangent.
Yeah.
So that'll do us for this episode of Stand Your Ground. We did have quite a lot to get over, but I think we've done it in reasonable time.
Yeah, and also when there's no pubs, it's just an excuse for us to have a chat, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, because I'm not going and sitting out in the pissing rain.
Yeah. Well, we'll be able to sit inside fairly soon.
Yeah, next week.
I'm sat inside now.
Yeah. Right.
So if you want to go and follow any of the amazing stuff that is on the Buzz or any of our socials, it's at WTBdotcom. That's for Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the website is whatthebuzz.com. And if you want any more of Jack and KC, you can listen to their Leeds United-based podcast, which is Mighty Whites Pod, at Mighty Whites Pod on Twitter. You can listen to that on all streaming services other than Acast, and it's live streamed to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Hang on, he's such a pro at this point. Oh, sorry,
Don't say that.
Sorry, my bad, not pro. I meant prick.
Oh, fuck off, you. But yeah, that'll do us for this episode. I've been joined by Jack and Casey.
In a bit, mate.
Cheers.
And I'll see you next week. In a bit.